This is New Clock Square in Homs, Syria, where thousands of protesters gathered during the early days of the anti-regime protests in Syria. But why is the square so significant to the Syrian uprising? Let's break it down. On April 17, 2011, 1 month after peaceful protests began against Bashar al-Assad's regime, New Clock Square emerged as a focal point for gatherings. Thousands of demonstrators packed the square, demanding political reforms, the release of prisoners, and an end to tyranny, corruption, and government repression. Protesters staged a sit-in, displaying banners and chanting peacefully. But by the evening of April 18, regime forces encircled the square. The next morning, they launched a brutal crackdown. As security forces stormed the square and fired arbitrarily at protesters, dozens were killed and hundreds were injured. Homs soon became known as the capital of the revolution, with protests growing more frequent and intense. The New Clock Square emerged as both a symbol of Assad's brutality and the resilience of the opposition. This marked a turning point. The events at the New Clock Square in April 2011 exposed the regime's intolerance of peaceful dissent. Though the exact number of victims remains unknown, the day is remembered as the massacre of the Clock Tower. However, this was not the first time the Assad family massacred Syrians. In 1982, Syrians faced yet another massacre, this time orchestrated by Hafez al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's father, during a ruthless crackdown on opposition to his regime. That February, the Syrian government launched one of the most notorious episodes of state violence in modern Middle Eastern history. Estimates suggest that between 10,000 and 40,000 people were killed as the regime aimed to suppress opposition, not just in Hama, but in other cities, including Homs. And this is the square in 2024, now liberated from the Assad regime. What the Assads once used to impose brutal lessons on Syrians is now etched in history as a symbol of Syria's freedom. As opposition forces took control of Syrian cities and deposed Bashar al-Assad on December 8th, Syrians flocked to the square in Homs to celebrate. Here, in the heart of Homs, they marked the end of 61 years of Ba'athist rule and the dawn of a new chapter in Syria's history.